Hi, everyone. Welcome to our spiritual sojourn. So happy to be here today. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Laurie.
What's happening in your world?
Oh, it's the usual thing, but I did have something interesting happen this week that I wanted to ask you about and
Cool.
we can discuss because it's relevant to what we do here. Um, have you ever had series of numbers show up that kind of caught your attention? Some people say the clock, it's 11:11, that kind of thing. Did you ever have that happen?
I certainly have seen those kind of numbers. Sometimes I've seen like 11:11 in the morning and then in the evening, but that's probably the closest I've come to
Yeah.
seeing them, just one at a time.
Well, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can make that happen. You could set an alarm and make that happen. But it happened.
It defeats the purpose.
It sort of defeats the purpose. But it happened to me rather randomly this week, and it started out at 1:11, and okay, that's kind of cool. And then 2:22, hey, and then 3:33, and then it happened again at 4:44, and then it happened again at 5:55, and I was not watching the clock. It just happened. So,
Wow.
um, and there is no, the highest number is 59, so it's not going to go into the sixes at all. So that's a full set of what you might call angel numbers. And so I wondered what you think of that and what that might mean, because I'm sure that other people have similar experiences, although I don't know of anyone who's ever had something quite like that happen. And tell me what you think.
I think that your guides and the angels are trying to get your attention with a 2x4. That's what I think. They're saying, Tom, pay attention.
Well, that seems pretty clear. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
does it always mean that to someone? Because I know a lot of people get angel numbers. What other ones, are there lots of messages that come through that people need to know about?
Well, I think so. I think when we notice those numbers, it's really the angels, spirit, whatever you want to call it, kind of it's kind of a tip of the hat to us in one way, just saying, hey, we're connecting. I'm here for you. And sometimes it's just giving you a little pat on the back of, hey, you're doing great, you're on the right track, whatever. And just a way to begin the communication. Sometimes I feel like it's a moment that they're asking us to stop and check in, like, oh, okay, what is it that you would have me know right now? What's up? What do I need to be focusing on? And so, depending on the number, because the numbers have different meanings, then it could be giving you a different message and pointing you in a direction in your life that maybe you have been paying attention to. Like the 111 kind of signifies a new beginning, new ventures, if you will. Um, the twos represent more of a balance and harmony. The threes basically are asking you to lean more into your creativity and align with your life purpose more clearly and more fully. Um, Four signifies that uh, inner wisdom and sort of strong foundations, really going deep within, trusting yourself, trusting your guidance, checking in with your soul all the time, making sure you both are aligned. And then the fives can indicate a significant change is on its way. And it may be that you're being asked to really embrace transformation, which can be scary when you think about that. It's like, what does that mean? I'm going to be, stepping into a transformation. Could mean that they're guiding you to pay attention and to really open up because you may be stepping into a whole new way of being, like shedding your old way, shedding who you've been in order to move forward to who you're becoming in a sense, and what your soul is here to do in terms of being here, having experiences, and then what the soul is bringing onto the planet to help everyone else. So they have all different kinds of meanings, and I think seeing them in a row like that for you is okay, you're on your path, you have some awareness, transformation's coming, get ready, for me, the overall message for you is pay attention and really trust the guidance that you get. I think more and more we're being really pushed. Um, okay, they say encouraged to really trust them, to always ask our soul self, our guides, the angels, whoever, trust them and always be asking them what's next. How do I move forward from here? What would you have me do now? Because the more connected we can be with that higher source of information, the more on path we are and the more aligned we are, not only with our soul self, but source itself, which can help make us move forward in life a little smoother in some ways. Sometimes we face challenges, and sometimes I think it's a message that says it's time for you to do some inner work. Look at those fears, look at those doubts, look at those things that stop you from moving forward or stepping into who you really are. And so then it becomes our responsibility to say, okay, I'm willing to do that. Even though it's uncomfortable, if it helps clear things, then I'm willing to sit and go into that deep unconscious place and pull up those fears and make a shift
Okay.
with the understanding that the angels are giving us information and they're going to be with us. We never do any of this alone, not really.
You know, an image came to me while you were speaking about that. It's kind of like when, if you have your email program set up to ping when you get a new email, when you get those angel numbers, it's kind of like that ping you get when you get a new email. And it
Yeah,
doesn't have the message necessarily in it, but it says, come get the message, come open
yes,
the email. And so
absolutely.
maybe that's a good way to look at that.
That's an excellent way to look at it. And I think it also clues you into what the message is about, depending on what numbers that happen to be that you're seeing, and sort of helps you to ask perhaps the right questions for yourself, and kind of like, okay, what is it about transformation that I need to know right now? What does that mean? And
Mm.
how am I transforming? And what am I doing to block it? Or how can I help it to move smoothly? Those kinds of questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
But
And
I like that idea of, yeah, it's kind of a ping, right? Letting you know, okay, we're
you need to come get your email.
yeah.
And I like what you said about it gives you an idea what the subject line of the email might be, uh,
Mhm.
at least a general category of life that you might want to
Right.
investigate further. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's an amazing way that Spirit has figured out how to communicate with us and help us to pay attention and to understand that what we think is real isn't always, and that, there's so much more, and that we're not here alone. To me, that's the biggest comfort is that, okay, because sometimes I forget. And it's like, oh, I do have all this support around. I can just ask and, I'll get help. So,
Well, yeah. That it we've done a show in the past about setting up a communication system, and this is kind of an extension to that, or at least, or maybe said differently, and maybe it's a start to that for some people. But um,
yeah.
it really can at least let you know that there's something to be known, something to be asked or learned.
And for myself, I realize the, the more I notice synchronicities, the more they happen. So it feels like the more I'm paying attention, the more guidance I'm getting in one way or another.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And our friend Ari put out something this week that said exactly that. The,
Mhm.
the more that you move forward in your spiritual growth, the more you will see those kinds of things. And the more
Yes,
you see those kinds of things, the more you'll move forward in your spiritual growth.
exactly. They work hand in hand for sure.
Do you
Yeah.
think he's going to charge me for referencing that?
Probably not.
Okay, good. Okay, good. But I do think that getting a communication system set up like that, you can define whatever you want it to be and
Yeah.
put that out there. And then, you know, when you get that, you can set that up and reinforce it so that you are getting a message that is specific to you.
Yes, exactly. And it's not only numbers, at least for me, that I pay attention to because the numbers are great. And if I happen to see an 11:11 some morning, because usually I'm not awake at 11:11 at night, but if I happen to see it, I pause for a moment and say, okay, what? What is it you're trying to tell me? And then I pay attention, and sometimes I get something, sometimes I don't. It's more of just, hey, we're with you. We're just letting you know we're here. Um, Other times, though, the synchronicities, I will be thinking about something and or have a question, and I will randomly turn on the radio in the car and hear a song that gives me the exact answer that I need.
Yeah. Music is a great way to do that.
Yes, music for me always does that. And so I really pay attention to that. But it could be an animal crosses your path. Sometimes birds do that for me. They used to come and sit on my balcony and stare at me until I paid attention
Hey,
and
Lynn.
went, "Oh, it's a message." And then they would leave and never come back again. But they always are messengers for me. So you have to be open to whatever. It could be a billboard, it could be the car's license plate in front of you. You just never know.
Right. Yeah, I do see number patterns everywhere. I have some breaking news about number patterns that you this will throw you a little bit for a loop, but uh today I saw 112. So that's not 111, that's 112. Well, it was close. And then I saw 223, and while you were speaking just now, I saw 334. So tell
Huh.
me, tell me if that's not something. So I don't know what that one means, but I'll go inside and see if I can get an answer to that. But the number patterns continue, and instead of being in a line, they're one off. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe it's your guides joking with you.
Well, they should know I don't have a sense of humor.
Because you're always a little left of center. You're always a little one
Whatever.
off.
Laurie, you and I both.
Well, that's probably true. That's why we're friends.
That's why we get along. So
That's right.
anyway, I got to figure out what that message means, and it may be exactly that. I do kind of hear some laughing right now, so it could very well be that. Oh,
But that's pretty cool, actually. So,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I had to just throw that in because it's happening live, and this is as close to being a broadcast news that I'll ever get to.
I just, I think that we can interpret anything like that in any way we need to, and that I think our guides, our angels, whoever, you need to know with us, most are communicate with us. So maybe that's just another way for them to get your attention so that you begin to tune in and say, okay, what's this about? And then they can start giving you information.
I think it means don't just stop it at that. Just keep going. Just there's more. There's more. Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us, it's really encouraging us to really own and embody the gifts that we brought with us this time. Because I keep getting the messages, and when I'm channeling for others, I keep getting all these messages for them that the world needs us. And so, whatever gifts we've brought, it's time for us to get on with it, start using them, start helping send light out into the world and be that calm in the storm, if you will. So, I think a lot of times right now, it's really saying, wake up, step into those gifts, and stop hiding,
Yeah.
which I did for a long time, and I appreciate that sometimes they have to slap me upside the head with a 2x4 to get me to move.
But there are so many things happening to all of us all day, every day.
Right.
Sometimes we do have to be refocused on some
Right.
one of them in particular.
I do know that when I'm in that alignment, I'm really paying attention. I'm asking for support. I'm asking for that guidance throughout the day, that I'm much calmer, I'm much happier, and life moves smoother for me. So, and I've noticed that. I think we've talked about my whole driving history on this show.
At
And
least
so I have recently been aligning with my higher self when I get into my car and really paying attention. And my behavior as a driver now has completely shifted. I stay calm. I don't yell and scream at other people, swear at them. It's like I'm just in the moment. It is what it is. I don't take anything personally that crazy drivers do. And it's just paying attention. And it feels so much better because I get to wherever I'm going much calmer, much more centered. So I think, it's about paying attention, having those intentions of aligning and staying in that place of love and calmness is what we're being called to do,
yep,
and not reacting or overreacting to what's happening outside us.
which is easy to get wrapped up into.
Yes, I'm very good at that.
Yeah. So I do think there are, not only does it mean something to get your attention, and it might mean a general area of your life to get your attention, but I can clearly see that this is going to continue and that I'll need to continue to check
Yeah.
all of those messages. And maybe that's one of the bigger parts of what we have to say today.
Yes, exactly. It's an ongoing process that we all need to pay attention to now and just stay consciously in contact with those beings of light that watch over us all the time. Yeah. And to me, it's comforting to know that they're there.
Unless they're laughing at you.
Well, mine do that routinely, so I'm just used to it because it reminds me to lighten up and, laugh at myself.
We have to do that. Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
definitely have to do that.
Well, what a great message for today. Is there anything else before we log off that we want to throw into that?
I don't think so. Pay attention to numbers,
Pay
angel
attention.
numbers.
Pay
Yeah,
attention. The messages are out there.
yeah.
All right. Well, great. Thank you, Lori. Well, if you've enjoyed today's message, please give us a like or a subscribe. And if someone that might benefit from this is in your world, please forward this to them with a share. And if you have a comment, we'd love to hear about it, and we will watch the comments and answer your questions if we can. And you can even put in a brand new question for something we've never addressed, and we'd love that just as much. And last and certainly not least, if you'd like to get a hold of either Lori or Tom, you can email us at ourspiritualsojourn@gmail.com. And with that, we thank you for your attention and your time today. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was fun.